Welcome back, everybody, to this Total War Warhammer 2 replay. My name is Poison Ducky, and this is going to be the Chaos versus the Dark Elf matchup. Now, I'm not a huge fan of mirror matches, so whenever my opponent goes like Dark Elves and I want to play Dark Elves, I'll let them be, and I'll go back to All Reliable. And All Reliable for me is the Chaos Warriors. You know, good old no ranged units, just charge at them. Can't be that hard, right? Well, in terms of armies, I've got a pretty simple army. I've got Chaos Warriors, I've got the Mirror Guard Regiment Renown as a front line, and on the flanks I have Chaos Marauders to have chaff, maybe be able to push through them. I need to make sure I can surround them if at best, or at least hold them back, hold their important units like their Blackguard of Nagaron back. Make sure they can't get killed, my special units, right? So I have a lot of infantry here, you can see, but you see two units of Chosen with great weapons. Yes, Chosen. They're not Chaos Warriors, but Chosen. I find that a lot of the time that I fight against the Dark Elf matchup, they will bring Harganeth Executioners. They will bring Blackguard of Nagaron, expecting a Dragon Ogre type build. You know, large units are a problem. Giants can be an issue, except don't bring Giants, by the way, in this build matchup, because Dark Shards will just shred them to bits. But that's why you bring Chosen. I think this is one of the few matchups where Chosen are actually useful. Essentially the best infantry unit in the game, and their armor piercing. They're just like amazing black orcs, right? Other than that, they're just... well, except they don't have immune to psychology, which is something we Chaos players have been like annoyed about since, I don't know, Warhammer 1 days. Like, come on, chosen of the gods, and they can get feared? Yeah, right. And the interesting pick for today, I think, is the 3 units of Chaos Spawn. Now, not too recently, I believe a few months ago, they did change it so that Chaos Spawn are 900 and no longer 1,000 cost. And I actually really like them in this particular matchup, not because they are like that almighty and powerful. It's because they don't care. They're unbreakable, they have high mass, and they have this button on them that says, I really don't care. And they will go jump into the spears. And the spears may have a great matchup with them, but Chaos Spawn still, like I said, they just bulldoze them and jump straight past them, go straight for the Dark Shards, which is really funny. Now my Lord is going to be the almighty Kolek Sun here. He's going to be standing back a little bit at the beginning because it turns out getting shot by arrows that are armor piercing are really not the play. Actually, these are bolts, aren't they? But my opponent, on the other hand, has a really interesting build. 3 units of Dark Shards, but he has nothing covering them. He's like giving them a very clean line of sight. So it's probably going to destroy one of my units with that heavy crossbow fire. But what does he use to back them up? He uses Dread Spears and Blackguard of Nagaron. Now, the Blackguard of Nagaron are a little far away, but they are covering the flanks. And Harganeth Executioners, like I expected, along with a Supreme Sorceress of Beasts. Now, you don't really see this too often. I was expecting Malice or something like that. Of course, you need to bring the Cavalry with the Cold One Knights, and very hidden in the woods are the sneaky Shades. Now, these units have great weapons, so they do have armor-piercing capabilities in combat, and that will actually come into play later on in the game. He did Vanguard deploy them, of course, but which is actually a bad thing, because when this engagement starts, they won't actually be able to support his units. So I'm going to be able to fight this entire section of army without his support of Shades, which I'm going to fully take advantage of. Now, of course, I didn't know that the Shades were back there at the time. I just thought, you know, his army looks awfully cheap, and I was expecting more cavalry to be in the woods. That was my guesstimate. Now I'm going to charge my units forward. I see that there's a gap right here, but of course he's going to send his Harganeth Executioners to intercept the Mirror Guard. Classic play. Have the good units. Have the armor-piercing anti-infantry units fight on my armored infantry. Now here's the really fun part. I'm going to send my Chaos Spawn in, and look, he's going to try to block my Chaos Spawn with the Harganeth Executioners. The Chaos Spawn are not going to care, and they're going to go straight past them and mow down the Dark Shards. Now, if you look on, it's fantastic. Now, on the right side, he's going to have some spears. They're going to hold back the Dread Spears are going to hold back a little bit, but a combination of Chosen, some Chaos Marauders, and Chaos Spawn, they're not going to hold very long, as Chaos Marauders do beat Dread Spears in combat. At least on a one-on-one, because we're a very cost-effective unit. I did have Kolek Sun Eater just charge past, and here comes the mowing. Like, look at these Chaos Spawn. You really, like, lightning is flying from the sky to hit the Blackguard of Naggaron. The Chaos Spawn may not be effective against Blackguard of Naggaron, but, you know, the fact that they just really push past them, they only hit the Dark Shards. You got 2 units of Routing Dark Shocks, a third because of Kolek, and my opponent is having a backline pressure fest. He can't deal with it. And by the way, this army has no hounds. I have no hounds, I have no cavalry, and yet I still successfully pushed into the back line. Now the real big issue are the Harganeth Executioners and the Blackguard of Naggaron. How do I deal with this? Well, I did choose 2 units of Chosen with Great Weapons, didn't I? And no matter Harganeth Executioners, will they punch above their pay grade? Absolutely. Their anti-infantry, bonus versus infantry, along with their armor-piercing swords are going to be very effective, but the Chosen just have so much greater stats. Look here, 48 and 46 for melee attack and melee defense. Executioners have 48 attack, but that's because of the murderous prowess, and the melee defense is not nearly as much. So every single hit, Chosen will hit them so much more than the Harganeth Executioners will hit back. Now, I am making the Chosen fight the Blackguard of Naggaron because here's a little note. If you guys don't know, Halberd units have very low attack rates in this game. So the Chosen, of course, going to break off these Harganeth, and I'm going to chase them off with some Chaos Spawn because Chaos Spawn, like, they can do whatever they want. But the biggest issue here is the Cold One Knight cycle charging, as I don't have a great anti-cavalry focus in my build, which would have been disastrous if you had multiple Cold Knights. But back to the Halberds. Halberds have a very low attack speed, even though they may have the same, very similar damage rates and may have very high melee defense. Look here. Melee weapon strength is 44 versus 50, which is not too much behind. The biggest difference is they attack almost half as much as a Chosen unit will hit. So it's like it's all about like hits per minute, right? So for every 1 hit from the Naggaron, you would probably get like maybe 1.5 hits from the Chosen, and that increases their damage per second quite drastically. Now, Kolek is being a complete monster, and the Shades have made it into combat. It's at this point I realize, hey, yeah, Shades actually hurt a lot. I'm going to cast a bolt of lightning from Kolek right here, and I'm going to charge into them with my Chaos Warriors. Now, remember earlier, I did say these are Shades with great swords, so they have armor-piercing capabilities. I did not catch that. So I'm going to chase them with my Chaos Warriors. I was like, oh yeah, these Chaos Warriors can chase the Shades off into oblivion. They may not be at full health, but like, look how many models I have left. I was like, they can most definitely at least hurt them a lot, and I was expecting a lot more trade-off, but you'll see in a bit, Chaos Warriors actually lose to them. It's a little surprising for me, at least. Back over all the way in the flanks, I am chasing off all of these Dark Shards with all my... what's left of my Chaos Spawn. I only have, what, 4 models here left, and I'm just bulldozing. Now look at this. It's just... they're going to use the Wheels of Death right here. They spin their arms round and round, and all of a sudden, everyone's dead. Very, very fun animation. Now, if you've been keeping track, these Blackguard Naggaron have been holding fast against my Chosen. It's been like at least 20 seconds of them just smacking each other, and that's how powerful Blackguard are at holding the line. But as you can see, look how little damage they did to the Chosen. This one took a lot of damage because of a Cold Rider rear charge, which is understandable, and a lot of fire from crossbows. But this Blackguard, once it's fully surrounded, will quickly lose its numbers with almost no damage in return. Now, Kolek here is running for his goddamn life from the Cold One Knights, as they are anti-large. But I will be charging the Chosen along with Kolek support. While my Chosen may not be anti-large, it's plenty damage to just kill him. They go Rampage, and he loses his cavalry. An Amber Spear, of all spells, hits Kolek. You don't see Amber Spears very often. But I suppose that's what happens when you choose the Supreme Sorceress as your leader. I'm kind of confused. Maybe my opponent didn't have any DLC, because it's a very rare leader choice. Usually at least see him on a mount, right? Maybe he's saving the money. Because at the beginning, the balance of power was definitely in my opponent's favor, as it always is, right? Now, Kolek is smacking this Supreme Sorceress. But here's the thing. When a large target like Kolek attempts to slap a single like entity unit that's on foot, they usually get thrown about, and they actually, when they're on the ground, they cannot take more hits because I'm not sure why, but that's how it's programmed in this game. I suppose it's balanced that doesn't happen. So I'm going to use my Chaos Marauders to chase my units off into the Oblivion distance, make sure they don't get back, because it's very important that the Blackguard and Nagaron are either shattered or leave the battlefield. I really don't want to deal with them. And at this point, they do shatter, so I will bring back my Chaos Marauders, and the only thing my opponent has left is 2 units of Shades and the Supreme Sorceress. Balance of power is in my favor, but if they take down Kolek, I am a goner. The leadership of Chaos is a huge issue, and when losing a leader, you take a very big leadership debuff. So I'm going to back off right now. I really do not want to take any more hits from these Shades than I really can afford, and my biggest proponent of winning this match is using the Chaos Marauders. Now, they have bronze shields, which means they block about 25% of projectiles. Well, actually not about, but they just block 25% of projectiles. And with the high unit count, the armor piercing will hurt the Chaos Marauders no matter what, but it's the main proponent is them wasting their ammunition on the Chaos Marauders and not my Chosen with great weapons, because if the Chosen and great weapons make it into combat, it is game over. Now, Kolek himself is a little too weak. He is 700 hit points. I cannot charge him forward here. How many volleys do they have left? Two each, 2 lobbies each, and if any of them hit Kolek, I believe that is a dead lord on my part. Now I'm getting the Chaos on like 3 models left. Look, 400 hit points, but I'm going to charge forward. I do have the Chaos Marauders up front, but my opponent does something smart. He's going to change his fire. First of all, he's holding off his fire. I finally see them, and he's going to fire at my Chosen. Now he is standing still here, and he's going to get punished for that. And watch this. Does quite a bit amount of damage, right? Like maybe 20%. Lightning is good. Now I'm going to have my Chosen mixed in with my Chaos Marauders. The Chaos Marauders can take a lot more hits, and I'm very careful not to have Kolek in there. You have to make sure he doesn't get into this bunch. Now these units, these Shades, only have 1 volley left, but I'm going to meet him in combat, and my opponent is going to meet me, surprisingly enough. Something I did not expect. It's a charge into the Chosen, and once the projectiles are out of this match, I bring Kolek into the fight. Hopefully I can terrify them and just swing and destroy what has left. Now he's going to bring his Supreme Sorceress into this fight, but Supreme Sorceress is not a very good melee combatant, and with that, I will take the win. Let's look at good old Kolek. A good picture of Kolek as he smacks people to oblivion. I was pretty happy about this gameplay. It's not very often. If you guys paid attention here, I did not use any magic whatsoever in my build. Oh, actually, I guess the lightning call from Kolek counts as magic, right? But I did not pay for any lore of fire, lore of death, lore of shadow, lore of metal right here, which is, I'm starting to think because the Winds of Magic is a source of value, right? And paying just a little bit so you can tap into the Winds of Magic is very worthwhile. But I don't know, that for Chaos, I only do this with Chaos. I don't do this with other builds. Other factions, I sometimes just say, hey, I don't really care about. Like, other factions, I'll just do, I want to use the lore of beasts. I want to use the lore of the dark. I want to use these fun lores of magic, lore of Nekahara, for instance. Chaos is just like, their stats on their units are just so insane sometimes that you're just like, I really don't need the magic, because magic is expensive for Chaos. Their sorcerers are a little bit more expensive because of their stats. Their stats are actually decent. You put the sorcerer on a mount and they can actually not die. I think that's the correct term. They don't die immediately when fighting other single target units. But yeah, Chaos Marauders did their job. They were flak. This is the Chaos Marauder unit that chased them off, the like important units, so that I 78 kills. It's a little bit over than what I expected, but like 29, 51, 10 on this one. That's what you'd expect. Now, the Chaos Warriors got completely smothered. They got so much crossbow fire into their ranks, but that's actually kind of good because they have silver shields, and silver shields block 50% as opposed to bronze shields 25%. So if there's any unit I want to get shot, it's the Chaos Warriors. And obviously the MVPs of this build is the Chosen. There's not many matchups where you can use them because they're just too slow, they're cumbersome, but if you get them to fight Blackguard of Naggaron, the Blackguard of Naggaron got a few 79-50, Chosen 153, 119. Chosen will just win, even against the Harkonneth Executioners, and I just love the Chaos Spawn. I only had one unit left, but Chaos Spawn quite literally bulldozed the front line, went straight for the archers, not the archers, the crossbowmen, and said no to your value, essentially. This is nothing. The Dark Elves are not known for their high armor except for their elite infantry, so the second Chaos Spawn touch any unarmored unit, be it infantry, being some sort of like a low tier cavalry, they're dead. It's as simple as that, and Unbreakable just only helps you just that much more so that they never ever run away, while even with one unit you can terrify a unit of Dark Shards, which is fantastic. I hope you guys like the video. Leave a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want more. I'll catch you guys later.